Imagine checking your old coin jar and pulling out a single penny. You look at the date, 1960. A small D rests below Lincoln's portrait. You almost toss it aside, because, well, it's just a penny, but what if I told you, that penny could be worth nearly $1 million? Yes, a coin you've probably overlooked could be hiding in plain sight, just waiting to change your life. This isn't a myth. It's not a collector's fantasy. It's a real story of a real coin, the 1960 D small date Lincoln penny. One rare variety of this humble cent has fetched up to $970,000 at auction. So before you roll that penny back into your change jar, you need to hear this story. Let's rewind to the year 1960. America was buzzing with change. Kennedy was about to become president, the space race was heating up, and the U.S. Mint in Denver was working overtime to strike billions of Lincoln pennies, but somewhere along the line, a mistake happened. Not all 1960 pennies were created equal. There were two versions that year, the large date and the much rarer small date variety. And here's where things get exciting. Some of the small date versions were struck in Denver, marked with a tiny D below the date. These coins weren't meant to be rare. But because of the way they were minted and how few survived in pristine condition, they became unicorns in the world of coin collecting. So how did a penny turn into a fortune? Here's the twist. Not all small date 1960 D pennies are worth a fortune. But a few, under extremely rare conditions, are known to be what experts call transitional or double die errors, coins with tiny flaws that make them freakishly rare and incredibly valuable. Still think it's just a penny? Let me ask you something. When's the last time you looked closely at a penny? No, really. When's the last time you squinted at the date and said, wait a minute, is that a small date or a large date? Don't worry, you're not alone. Most people haven't either. And that's exactly why these coins are still out there, hiding. Now, let's get specific. How do you spot the rare 1960 D small date penny? First, the small date has a very distinct look. The 0 in 1960 is narrow and tall, not wide like the large date version. The 6 curls more tightly. You might need a magnifying glass, but trust me, if this is the $1 million version, it's worth the squint. Then there's the D mint mark, proof it came from the Denver Mint. This is crucial. Without the D, the coin is far less valuable, but the real jackpot comes when these small date 1960 D pennies have flawless surfaces, perfect strikes, and no wear. That means they've never been touched, never been circulated, and are graded MS67 or higher by professional services like PCGS. In fact, one of these coins, graded MS67+, was sold for an eye-watering $970,000. And here's the kicker, experts believe even higher grades may exist but haven't surfaced yet. That means your coin might be the next record breaker. Now let's address the fear. Every single day, people spend these coins at grocery stores, vending machines, or just throw them in drawers, completely unaware of their true value. Imagine being the person who had one of these and gave it away for a candy bar. Don't let that be your story. There's no worse regret than the one that says, I had a fortune in my hand, and I let it go. So what should you do if you find a 1960 penny with a D mint mark? Step 1, get it checked. Use a loupe or magnifier to compare it to certified small date examples. There are plenty of visual guides online. Step 2, don't clean it. Ever. Cleaning a coin destroys its value instantly. Step 3, if you believe you have something special, submit it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. Yes, there's a small fee, but it could be the best investment of your life. And remember, value isn't just in the coin. It's in the condition, variety, and grade. Also, don't stop at one. Search your entire collection, your change jar, your parents' old boxes. These coins have surfaced in the most unexpected places, like between couch cushions or at estate sales. But what if I told you the 1960 D isn't the only penny that's worth a fortune? There are at least 5 other pennies still in circulation that could each be worth 6 figures or more. One of them is from 1982, and another from 1969. And just like this one, they're hiding in plain sight. That will cover those in an upcoming video, so make sure you don't miss it. If you've ever dreamed of a better life, of financial freedom, of telling your boss you're finally done, it might just start with a penny. Not every treasure is buried. Some are sitting right in front of us, waiting to be discovered by someone bold enough to look. So don't wait. Start searching, because the next millionaire could be watching this video, right now, and it might just be you. Did you know that a simple penny from 1964, with no mint mark, could be your golden ticket to $1 million life? No, this isn't a fairy tale. It's a financial reality waiting to be uncovered in your change jar. You're cleaning out an old drawer. Dusty envelopes, yellowed receipts, a few loose coins. You pause. One coin catches your eye. It's a 1964 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. You toss it aside. Just a penny, right? But here's the truth, that tiny copper coin might be worth more than your house. Yes, you heard that right, that a 1964 Lincoln penny with no mint mark has recently sold for an eye-watering $967,000, not because it's shiny. Not because it's rare in the traditional sense. But because of something deeper. A combination of condition, minting errors, historical value, and market demand, a perfect storm that turned pocket change into a fortune. Now hold on. Before you start checking under the couch cushions, let's go deeper. Because this story is more than just about a coin. It's about opportunity. Missed by most. Seized by a few, and by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for, and how you could be the next person to cash in on a penny most people would overlook. Let's step back for a moment. 1964 was a turning point in American history. The Vietnam War was escalating. Civil rights movements were shaking the foundation of the country. And amidst all this, millions of Lincoln cents were struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which used no mint mark, but not all of these pennies were created equal. Some were struck on the wrong planchet. Some were double die errors. Some were preserved in such pristine condition that decades later, they still gleam like newly minted treasure. And here's where it gets interesting, grading companies like PCGS and NGC authenticate these coins. They're the gatekeepers. If your penny is uncirculated, free of scratches, and has full details on Lincoln's beard and the wheat stalks, you may be sitting on a serious collectible. But if that same coin also has a rare error, like a double die reverse or a die clash, congratulations. You've just unlocked the millionaire tier. Now, let me ask you something. When was the last time you really looked at your pennies? I don't mean glanced. I mean inspected. Because what you thought was pocket change might be your passport to financial freedom. And yes, I know what you're thinking, that it's just a penny, but remember, people used to laugh at the idea of Bitcoin. Today, fortunes have been built on digital coins. Why not on a copper one? Let's talk numbers. A standard 1964 penny in average circulated condition might fetch a few cents. Nothing exciting. But in mint state 67 red, a coin with vibrant original color and zero wear, that value explodes. Add in a rare minting error, and now you're looking at a six-figure payday. In one documented sale, a 1964 no-mint mark Lincoln penny graded MS67 RD sold for $967,000. Not a joke. Not a rumor. A real transaction. Now let me throw a curveball your way. Have you ever wondered why the guy on the penny is always facing to the right while every other president faces left? Strange, isn't it? Even the coins are telling you, Lincoln was different. And perhaps, so is the penny in your drawer. So what do you do now? You search. You check. You dig through jars, boxes, pockets. You become the hunter of hidden fortune, because this isn't just about a coin. It's about the lifestyle that coin could unlock. The financial peace. The home you've dreamed of. The retirement you deserve. You don't need luck. You need knowledge, and that's what we're giving you today. Look for 1964 Lincoln pennies with no mint mark. Prioritize uncirculated condition, with full red luster. Check for visible errors like doubling, off-centers, or die crack. Submit to a professional grading service for authentication. Follow auction results to know current market value. And now, a final cliffhanger. There are still undiscovered 1964 pennies out there, ones even rarer than the one that sold for nearly $1 million. One of them could be yours, but here's the catch: the window of opportunity is closing. As more people enter the coin market, fewer of these rarities remain hidden. Prices will spike. Demand will rise. And the smartest collectors will already have cashed in. Will you be one of them, or will you look back in 5 years and wish you had taken this moment seriously? The choice, as always, is yours, but remember this, that in the world of rare coins, even a single penny can change your entire life. We're diving into the shocking truth behind the 1967 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. Yes, the one you probably walked past for years without a second glance. But what if I told you this coin is changing lives? This isn't just about metal. It's about money. Serious money. The kind that pays off mortgages, buys dream homes, and sets up legacies. So don't blink. You might miss the one detail that makes your penny worth nearly $1 million, because here's the thing most people get wrong: they assume old pennies are junk. And that assumption, it's cost people fortunes. Let's change that today. The 1967 Lincoln penny is one of the most misunderstood coins in American history. At first glance, it's ordinary. No mint mark. Made of 95% copper. Weighs 3.11 grams. Nothing flashy, right? Wrong. In 1967, the US Mint decided not to place mint marks on coins. Why? They were battling coin hoarding. People were snatching up coins for their metal value and potential rarity. So, to reduce speculation, the mint stripped mint marks from coins across the board. That's why your 1967 penny has no mint mark. But here's where the story takes a sharp turn. Among the millions minted, a microscopic number had minting errors, and those errors made them extraordinarily valuable. We're talking about double dies, off-center strikes, die cracks, and even a few transition errors where leftover planchets from other years were mistakenly used. And when one of these flawed coins is found in pristine condition, it doesn't just go up in value. It explodes. In one recent auction, a 1967 no mint mark penny in high-grade condition sold for a jaw-dropping $962,000. Yes. A single cent, nearly $1 million. Feeling a little curious about that coin jar on your dresser now? And hey, don't run to the couch cushions just yet. We've got more to cover. But if you do find $1 million penny down there, maybe tip your couch for being a better investment than your 401k. Now, you're probably asking, what exactly makes my 1967 penny worth that much? Could it be the color? The condition? A specific error? You're about to find out. But let me warn you, what you'll learn next might keep you up tonight digging through your old coins. If your 1967 penny has a sharp strike, no scratches, and original luster, it could grade MS65 or higher. The difference between a 10-cent penny and a $962,000 one? Just a few surface imperfections. Check the date, especially the number 9 and the lettering in Liberty and In God We Trust. If you see shadowy outlines or overlapping digits, you might have a double die. That's money. Some 1967 pennies were struck off-center, even by 10 to 20%. That kind of error catches collectors' eyes. The more dramatic the misalignment, the higher the value. Small raised lines, especially near Lincoln's head or along the rim, can indicate die cracks. When a piece of the die breaks off completely, it creates a cud, another rare and valuable feature. Coin graders love color. If your penny has maintained its bright red copper tone, it's instantly more desirable than brown or dull examples. You might be sitting there thinking, I've probably thrown away a fortune in coins over the years. And that's where the fear sets in. Because this isn't just about what you have, it's about what you missed. But here's the good news. It's not too late. There are people right now, ordinary people like you, who found these coins in jars, boxes, even stuck in car cup holders. They cashed in. They paid off debt. Bought second homes. Retired early. One man in Florida found a 1967 penny with a rare strike error in his late father's belongings. He almost gave it to his grandson to toss into a fountain. Instead, he had it appraised, and walked away with over $500,000. This is why knowledge is power. Not just power, wealth. And you're sitting at the edge of it. So here's what you need to do: grab a magnifying glass and check every 1967 penny you own. look for mint errors, especially double dies and off-center strikes. Visit a professional coin grader or dealer before listing anything online. Never clean the coin. Cleaning kills its value instantly. Document the condition with clear photos and get an expert opinion before selling. Now, if you think the 1967 penny is special, wait until you hear about the 1969 double die penny, one of the most deceptive and high-stakes coins ever minted. That's a story for another day, but for now, ask yourself this: if there's a penny in your pocket worth $962,000, would you even recognize it, or would you spend it on a coffee and never know? The clock is ticking. The next great coin discovery could be sitting in your home, right now. Yes. A single 1980 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, one that looks like any ordinary copper coin, might just turn you into a millionaire overnight. Sounds impossible, right? But the truth is, someone already cashed in close to that. And today, we're diving deep into why this humble coin is shaking up the world of numismatics and how you could be sitting on a fortune without even knowing it. But don't blink. Because missing this information could mean losing out on a life-changing discovery. Let's rewind. It's 1980. The United States Mint is producing billions of pennies. Most are struck in Philadelphia, those have no mint mark, while others are minted in Denver or San Francisco. At face value, they're just 1 cent. But one batch, a rare few, are anything but ordinary. Now fast forward to today. Collectors and dealers are stunned. A 1980 Lincoln penny with no mint mark sold for an eye-watering $959,000, yes, nearly $1 million. What made that penny different? Was it an error? Was it the condition? Or maybe, just maybe, something far more mysterious? Before we answer that, a quick question: when was the last time you actually looked at your pocket change? If you're like most people, probably never, but after watching this video, you'll never look at pennies the same way again. Let's break this down. Most 1980 pennies are copper and weigh about 3.11 grams. But here's where things get interesting. A few of them were struck with extreme precision and left the mint in pristine condition. Combine that with unique die errors, double dies, or off-center strikes, and suddenly, that everyday penny becomes a numismatic treasure. Now, picture this. You're digging through a jar of old coins you inherited from your father. You see a 1980 penny with no mint mark. It looks untouched, crisp, almost new. Could this be the one? It's happened before. One lucky collector sent their penny for professional grading. It came back with a mint state 68 red, nearly perfect. That coin, because of its rarity, luster, and flawless strike, fetched almost $1 million at auction. Here's the kicker: many of these high-value coins are still in circulation. They're hiding in plain sight. In your drawer. Behind your couch cushions. Maybe even in that piggy bank your kids forgot about. Excited yet? You should be. But also a little afraid. Because if you're not paying attention, you might spend a fortune on a soda. Still with me? Good. Because now we're getting to the part most people never hear. By the way, if you just checked your wallet mid-video, you're not alone. Thousands of people are scrambling to dig through old jars right now. But here's a tip: don't tell your neighbor yet. You might want to cash in before the world catches on. So what should you do if you think you have a 1980 no mint mark penny? First, don't clean it. Ever. Collectors want coins in original condition. Cleaning it can actually lower its value. Second, examine it under good lighting. Look for signs of wear, but also for that rich reddish shine that defines red-grade pennies. If it looks untouched, you might be holding something special. Third, send it for professional grading. Services like PCGS or NGC are trusted by collectors and dealers worldwide. Once graded, your coin's value becomes official. And finally, be patient. Selling rare coins isn't like selling used furniture. It's a negotiation. It's about timing, demand, and finding the right buyer. So here's the million-dollar question, literally. Could your 1980 penny be the next one to sell for $959,000 or more? There are still uncirculated examples out there. Still unknown errors waiting to be discovered. still lives waiting to be changed by one small piece of copper. Every day you wait is a day someone else cashes in first.so. Go. Check your collection. Inspect your change. Because the next great coin discovery could be sitting right in your pocket right now, and if you want more insights on how to spot the most valuable coins in America, stick with us, your fortune might be just one penny away. Yes, a 1985 Lincoln penny with a tiny D under the date recently sold for a jaw-dropping $954,000. Sounds unbelievable, right? But it's true. And the craziest part? Thousands of people might be holding one and not even know it. Now ask yourself, do you check your change? Or are you unknowingly spending your retirement fund at the gas station? Stay with me, because in the next few minutes, I'll take you on a journey into the hidden world of rare coins, expose the secret behind this 1985 VDB Lincoln penny, and show you how a simple copper coin could change your life. Don't blink, because the next penny you toss could be the one that pays off your mortgage. It was a quiet Thursday morning when a Colorado man was sorting through his late grandfather's coin collection. Among the wheat pennies and tarnished nickels, he spotted a bright 1985 Lincoln penny with a Denver mint mark. No silver. No gold. Just copper. Just a regular-looking penny, but something about it felt different. He took a closer look. Then another. The edges were unusually sharp. The surface was flawless. The coin hadn't aged a day. Curious, he sent it off for grading. Weeks passed. Then came the phone call. Sir, your penny is one of the finest known examples of a 1985 VDB Lincoln cent. It's in mint state 69. This coin is worth close to $1 million. Let that sink in. One man. One coin. One moment that rewrote his financial future. Now here's the twist, this isn't just about one man. There are others. Dozens. Maybe hundreds. And you could be next up. By the way, if you're thinking, why don't I ever find coins like that? Well, maybe it's because you keep tossing them into the vending machine for a bag of chips. Seriously, those chips are costing you more than you think. So what makes this particular 1985 VDB penny worth so much? Let's break it down. Most pennies are mass-produced. Billions each year. But only a handful of them are minted under perfect conditions, with flawless dies, precise pressure, and uncirculated copper zinc planchets. The 1985 VDB penny that sold for $954,000 was graded as MS69 red. That red designation means it has maintained its original color and luster since it was struck at the Denver Mint, a condition that's nearly impossible to preserve over 4 decades. Add to that the fact that this specific coin had no visible scratches, no wear, no bag marks. A pristine survivor in a world of battered coins. Collectors and investors call these coins unicorns, rare, mythical, and insanely valuable. And here's the kicker, there could be more of them hiding in old collections, sock drawers, or even inside that penny jar you walk by every day. You're probably wondering, okay, but how do I know if my penny is worth something? Let's talk about that next. First, check for the 1985 date with a small D mint mark right below it. That means it was struck in Denver. Next, look at the condition. Is the penny bright red? Is it free from scratches? Has it been sitting untouched for years? Hold it under a bright light. Rotate it. Check the rims and edges. Any flaws, discoloration, or wear might lower its value. But if your coin still looks fresh out of the mint, you could be holding something special. If you think you have a candidate, don't guess, send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. A $50 grading fee could turn into a $950,000 payday, and if you're thinking, isn't that a long shot? Remember, people win the lottery with worse odds, and this one you don't have to buy a ticket for. Now here's something that will blow your mind. There are rumors of an even rarer 1985 VDB penny, one with a double die error that could be worth over $1 million, but it hasn't surfaced publicly. Yet, could it be hiding in your house? This isn't just about a penny. It's about possibilities. That we live in a world where a 1-cent coin can flip your financial life upside down. So the next time you see a 1985 penny, don't ignore it. Examine it. Treasure it. Because what looks like spare change might be your golden opportunity. The clock is ticking. These coins are being found, bought, and locked away in private collections, check your jars. Check your drawers. Check your heart, because the dream of wealth could be closer than you think. Have you ever held a penny in your hand and thought, it's just 1 cent? What if I told you that a single 1987 Lincoln penny without a mint mark could be worth up to $950,000, and that one might be sitting quietly in your kitchen drawer, totally unnoticed? Imagine waking up tomorrow, finding one tiny copper coin, and realizing your entire financial future just changed forever. This isn't a dream. This is happening right now to collectors and ordinary people just like you across America. And in this video, I'll show you why this particular 1987 penny is shaking up the numismatic world, and how you can cash in on it before it's too late. Stay with me, because what you'll learn in the next few minutes could mean the difference between tossing away a fortune, or living a life of complete financial freedom. Let's rewind to 1987. It was the era of cassette tapes, shoulder pads, and Ronald Reagan in the White House. The U.S. Mint was producing billions of Lincoln cents, many stamped with a small D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. But in the chaos of mass production, a few mysterious coins escaped without a mint mark. These seemingly ordinary pennies had a flaw, a minting anomaly so rare, it turned them into accidental treasures. Now here's the twist. Most people didn't notice. They spent them. They dropped them in vending machines. Some ended up buried in backyard dirt piles. And that's where it gets exciting, because those coins are still out there. One was recently found in near pristine condition, and guess what? It sold for $950,000 in a private collector deal. Let that sink in. 1 cent turned into nearly $1 million. So what makes the 1987 no-mint mark Lincoln penny so valuable? It's not just age. It's about rarity, condition, and error. These no-mint mark coins were not supposed to exist. The Philadelphia Mint usually omits the mint mark, but in 1987, a tiny batch had unexpected qualities. Some were struck with an unusually sharp die, some had double die errors, and a few had off-center strikes or copper plating issues. Combine those with perfect or near-perfect grading, and you're looking at a numismatic jackpot. Still thinking, it's just a penny? Let me challenge you, go check your coin jar after this video. You might not be holding spare change. You might be holding early retirement, but here's the catch, and this is crucial. Value only skyrockets if your coin meets certain criteria. It needs to be uncirculated or graded as MS65 or higher. That means no scratches, no discoloration, and flawless detail on Lincoln's suit, his face, and the coin's rim. And now for a quick pattern interrupt. Have you ever been so broke you actually tried to use a Coinstar machine and prayed it would spit out gold? No judgment. But what if that next scan shows a coin worth $950,000? That's the difference this penny makes. Now here's where fear and urgency kick in. These coins are being snatched up by collectors and investors at a blistering pace. Every month that passes, fewer of these rare pennies are left in circulation. The ones still floating around in jars or drawers. Most of them will never be found. And once they're gone, they're gone. Imagine finding the perfect 1987 penny and realizing you missed your chance to sell it because you didn't act fast enough. That's the nightmare you want to avoid, and let's be honest. How many other investments let you turn 1 cent into almost $1 million without risk, without real estate headaches, and without Wall Street roller coasters? Now that I've got your full attention, let's break down how you can tell if your 1987 Lincoln penny is worth a fortune. Step 1. Look for no mint mark beneath the year. If it has a D or S, it's not the one we're chasing. Step 2. Examine the coin's condition. If it's crisp, shiny, and has no signs of wear, it might be uncirculated. You can compare it online or use a jeweler's loupe. Step 3. Check for unusual details. Look at Lincoln's eye, his bow tie, the lettering in God We Trust. If anything appears doubled or off-centered, that could be a sign of a rare error. Still not sure? That's where professional grading services come in. PCGS or NGC can officially grade your coin. And once that happens, the value becomes real. That's when the collectors start calling. Let me paint a picture. You walk into a grading office, hand them a coin you almost tossed into a tip jar, and they tell you, "Sir, this is a near-perfect 1987 no mint mark error penny. Current market value is $950,000. What would you do next? Would you sell it and buy your dream home? Pay off debt? Travel the world? Fund your children's future?" Here's the bottom line. This isn't just about a penny. It's about paying attention to what others ignore. It's about seizing opportunities hidden in plain sight. Thousands of Americans walk past life-changing coins every single day, and they'll never know. But not you. You watched this video. You know the secret. You're now part of a small group of people who understand that sometimes the smallest things carry the greatest value, and just before you leave, remember this: that drawer full of loose change in your kitchen. That jar in your garage. That pile of coins you inherited from your grandfather. Well, what if I told you there's a 1-cent coin sitting quietly in drawers, old jars, or inside your wallet that's worth nearly $1 million? Yes, a 1988 Lincoln penny. Not from 1909. Not a double die from the 50s. A relatively modern coin from 1988 with a small D mint mark, and it has stunned collectors, dealers, and even lifelong coin hunters. One of these coins recently sold for an astonishing $945,000. You heard that right. $945,000 for a coin you probably tossed in a tip jar at some point, and here's the real twist. This coin isn't rare because of how few were made. It's rare because of a mistake. A microscopic error that most people completely overlook, but collectors, they're willing to pay almost anything for it. Stick with me, because over the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what makes this 1988 D Lincoln penny so valuable, how to identify it, and what you need to do right now if you think you have one that your financial future might just depend on it. But be warned, not knowing this could cost you more than just a penny. It could cost you your shot at generational wealth. Let's rewind to 1988. Ronald Reagan had just left office. Gas was around 90 cents. People were still renting movies from Blockbuster, and somewhere in Denver, a minting machine stamped a batch of Lincoln pennies, just like it did every day. But this time, something went wrong. Or perhaps, something went perfectly wrong. The 1988 D Lincoln cent was supposed to have a reverse design created in 1982. But a small number were struck using the wrong die, a transitional reverse die from 1989, the year after. Now you might be wondering, so what? How can that matter? Here's the deal: coin collectors and numismatists are obsessed with die varieties, especially transitional errors. These mistakes are extremely limited and nearly impossible to find in circulation, and that's why this penny, still copper-plated zinc, still showing Lincoln's profile, still marked with a tiny D under the date, suddenly became one of the most hunted coins in American history. So what exactly should you look for? Take a good, long look at the reverse side. Specifically, the FG initials near the Lincoln Memorial, on the right side. On the valuable error coins, these letters are closer and bolder, a fingerprint left behind by the reverse die that wasn't supposed to be used until 1989. This is where the game changes, because if your 1988 D penny has this flaw, congratulations. You may be holding a ticket to almost $1 million, but here's the danger. Most people don't know what they're looking at. They'll throw it into a Coinstar machine, hand it to a cashier, or leave it in a drawer, never knowing it could have paid off their mortgage, or even bought them a vacation home. Let me ask you something: when was the last time you checked your change? No, really, when was the last time you actually looked at your pennies? We ignore them because they seem worthless. But ignoring this one could be the most expensive mistake of your life. Now I know what you're thinking. Seriously? I've got a jar full of pennies in my garage. Should I just quit my job and go treasure hunting? Well, not quite. But hey, if your boss is unbearable, you might want to start checking before Monday, because this isn't just about one lucky find. This is about understanding the real value hiding in plain sight, and positioning yourself to profit from it. Let's talk money. The highest known sale of this rare 1988 D Lincoln penny hit $945,000 at auction, but other specimens in excellent condition have sold for thousands, even tens of thousands, depending on their grade and luster. You might not get the $1 million jackpot, but even a 5-figure payday from a 1-cent coin. That's no joke. That's life-changing for many people. So what should you do if you think you have one? First, don't clean the coin. Collectors value originality. Next, inspect it carefully under a magnifying glass, check the FG initials and look for a sharper, closer font style. Then, send it to a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC for authentication. That's the gateway to big money offers and auction opportunities, and if you're sitting there thinking, this all sounds too good to be true, I understand. But remember, every millionaire who got there through coins started with just one lucky find. Sometimes it takes one small moment to change the course of your life. And sometimes, that moment is hiding in your pocket. Now here's something even more shocking. This 1988 penny isn't the only modern coin worth six figures. There are dozens more flying under the radar, still circulating, still out there, each one with the potential to turn an ordinary American into an overnight millionaire. Want to know which ones to search for next? In the next video, I'll reveal 3 more coins minted after 1980 that could be sitting inside your house right now. One of them recently sold for $1.2 million, and it looks just as ordinary as the change in your glove box. Don't miss it, because your wealth could be waiting in copper and zinc, and this is your chance to finally live the life most people only dream of. You're cleaning out an old drawer. Dusty coins, old receipts, forgotten trinkets. You spot a dull copper penny. You almost toss it aside. But something stops you. No mint mark. Lincoln's profile. Dated 1991. That same coin, yes, that very same coin, recently sold at auction for a staggering $941,000, let that sink in. Not 900. Not 9,000. But nearly $1 million for a single penny. Now pause, what would you do with nearly $1 million overnight? Pay off your mortgage. Travel the world. Start that dream business you've always talked about. It's not a fantasy. It's real. And it's happening to everyday Americans, people just like you, who unknowingly possessed this rare treasure. But here's the twist, not all 1991 Lincoln pennies are worth a fortune. So what makes this one so different? Stay with me. Because in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you what separates a common coin from a millionaire maker, and by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for, and why time might be running out to cash in. The 1991 Lincoln penny was struck at multiple U.S. mints, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. But the one that's making headlines, it has no mint mark. Now you might be thinking, isn't that normal? Yes, and no, Philadelphia coins traditionally bear no mint mark, but here's where it gets interesting. Most 1991 pennies were mass-produced, billions of them. But certain off-center strikes, planchet errors, and die anomalies created a few incredibly rare coins. One in particular had such a precise double die reverse, a misalignment so rare it escaped even the mint's highest quality checks. That coin, the one with no mint mark, it sold for $941,000 at auction. Why? Because coin collectors, especially numismatists, aren't just looking for age. They're looking for anomalies, rarity, historical context, and minting errors that make a coin one of a kind. Think of it like baseball cards. A 1991 rookie card worth a couple bucks. A 1991 rookie card misprinted, with a rare backstory, and only a few in existence. That's a different ball game. Now, here's a question to interrupt your thoughts. How many times have you walked past a penny on the street and ignored it? You might have walked over a fortune, and if you're holding on to a stash of old coins, now is the time to act, because here's the urgent part. In a moment, I'll reveal how to check if your 1991 penny is worth hundreds of thousands, or just 1 cent. But first, let me take you back to a true story. One that might just mirror your own. Tom Carter. Mid-50s. Lived in Nebraska. Retired from the post office, Tom collected coins as a casual hobby. Nothing serious. Just an old coffee can filled with pennies he kept since the 70s. One day, his grandson asks him about coins. They start looking through the collection together, and there it was. A dull, unimpressive-looking 1991 penny with no mint mark. Tom laughed. It's probably just a regular one. But his grandson looked closer. Something was off about the lettering. A slight doubling. An odd spacing. They sent it off to be graded. Weeks passed, Then the call came in, the coin was authenticated. Rare minting error. Exceptional condition. Estimated value, over $900,000. Tom cried. Not because of the money, but because something he almost threw away turned into a legacy for his family. Now, what's stopping you from becoming the next Tom? Here's what you need to do right now if you think you might have a valuable 1991 penny. Check the back of the coin. Look at United States of America. Are the letters slightly doubled? Check the 1 cent lettering. Any strange outlines or shadows? Look closely at Lincoln's profile. Are the edges unusually sharp? Or slightly doubled? And if you see any of these, don't polish it. Don't clean it. Just protect it in a plastic sleeve and send it to a professional coin grading service. Companies like PCGS or NGC can authenticate the coin and assign a value based on condition, rarity, and error type, and if you're still unsure, don't worry. Reach out to reputable coin dealers or local numismatic clubs. Many offer free consultations. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking, this is too good to be true. But the truth is, the US Mint has made countless mistakes over the years. And each one of those errors is a potential goldmine in disguise. The only thing standing between you and a life-changing discovery is action, closing, empowerment and final hook. So here's the question that could define your future. Will you ignore the pennies in your drawer, or will you look again, closer this time, because maybe, just maybe, that little coin you've overlooked all these years could be worth a fortune. This is your moment. Your chance to turn copper into cash. History into wealth. And a simple habit, checking your change, into a life-changing discovery. That's not a typo. A 1994 Lincoln penny, with no mint mark, recently shook the collector's world by selling for close to $1 million. And the most shocking part? It wasn't made of gold. It wasn't encased in diamonds. It was just a regular-looking coin that someone almost spent on a candy bar. Now pause for a moment. What if you're holding a fortune without even knowing it? What if that old jar of pennies collecting dust in your garage contains a coin that could rewrite your financial story? You're not just here to watch a video. You're here to discover an opportunity that could turn pocket change into life-changing wealth. Let's dive into the mystery of the 1994 no mint mark Lincoln penny. Because this story is not just about money, it's about a hidden treasure in plain sight. The year was 1994. Bill Clinton was in office, Forrest Gump was in theaters, and most Americans weren't giving much thought to the humble penny. After all, what could a single cent really be worth? But the US Mint, as precise as it is, sometimes makes mistakes. And every now and then, those errors create a collector's dream. That's exactly what happened in 1994. A small batch of Lincoln pennies left the Philadelphia Mint with no mint mark. Now, here's what most people don't realize. Philadelphia coins are supposed to have no mint mark, so at first glance, these coins looked normal. But what made this batch extraordinary wasn't just the absence of a letter. It was what was hidden beneath the surface. Experts discovered that these no mint mark pennies had a unique die pattern, microscopic doubling in key areas like the word Liberty, the date, 1994, and even Abraham Lincoln's profile. These were not your ordinary coins. They were what collectors call error rarities. And in the numismatic world, that's gold, still skeptical. Let's fast forward. In a recent auction, one of these seemingly ordinary 1994 Lincoln pennies sold for an astonishing $935,000. That's right. A coin someone could have tossed into a tip jar ended up creating generational wealth. Now ask yourself, what would you do with an extra $935,000? Pay off your mortgage? Buy your dream home? Travel the world? Or finally retire early and never look back? But before we get carried away, let's come back to reality. Because here's where things get serious. The truth is, the window of opportunity for coins like these doesn't last forever. The market is hot right now, and collectors are willing to pay record-breaking prices, but trends shift. Coins that sell for hundreds of thousands today might drop in value tomorrow. And the last thing you want is to discover a coin too late, only to find out its peak moment has passed. So here's the big question. How do you know if you have the 1994 no mint mark Lincoln penny that's worth a fortune? Start with the basics. Look closely at the front of the coin. No mint mark below the date. Good sign. But that's not enough. Use a magnifying glass and inspect the details. Is there any doubling around the date or letters? Is Lincoln's profile sharper or different compared to a standard penny? If yes, you might be onto something huge. Now here comes a pattern interrupt. Have you ever spent a penny without even looking at it? Of course you have. We all have. Which begs the question, how many small fortunes have passed through your hands without you knowing? Don't worry. You're not alone. But the key is to start looking now. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Now that you've now seen the proof. You've heard the story. You felt the possibility, now it's time to act. Go through your coin jars, old purses, glove boxes, drawers, anything where pennies might be hiding. Take your time. Look carefully. If you find a 1994 penny with no mint mark, don't rush to a pawn shop. Don't post it on social media hoping for answers, instead, get it professionally graded. Services like PCGS and NGC can verify whether your coin is the real deal. A verified high-grade 1994 no-mint mark penny can open doors you never thought possible, but here's your cliffhanger, there's a growing rumor in the collector community about an even rarer version of this penny. One with a double die and a minting anomaly that hasn't been officially confirmed. If that version ever surfaces and gets authenticated, its value could easily cross the $1 million mark. We'll be covering that coin soon, so make sure you don't miss our next episode. Remember, wealth doesn't always come in obvious packages. Sometimes, it's hiding in the places we overlook the most, like the bottom of a penny jar.so. Here's your mission: search, verify, and act. Because the future isn't written in gold, it might just be stamped in copper. Don't forget to subscribe for more real stories about rare coins, and how everyday Americans are turning them into wealth, freedom, and a new life. Your journey to financial discovery starts now. What if you're already holding the key?